Alright, I'm thinking we're live here. Hopefully. That's at least my interpretation. Is that we're now... Oh, listen, why is it Abu Dhabi in the daytime? Let's see, I have actually yet to drive a proper lap on this track. Let's see, how do we do here? Oh, we've gone quite wide. Sorry, at the moment, this fucking bag of whatever's just in the way. We are officially live here. This is the season finale of the JAG Sunday Series. This is the pre-show. At the moment, taking you through a quick lap of the Yas Marina circuit here in Abu Dhabi. Really tricky couple of first corners there. Moment, this is not a half-bad lap, has to be said. Aiming for the mid-122s, that'd be quite nice. And now here we go through the chicane. You just kind of slap the throttle a couple times, get the back end of the car just around. This is the new section of the track, which was just implemented in 2021. It's really improved the racing more or less. I think in F2 it was actually really helpful. We saw some good moments through that, but yet to really see some big action in F1. But it is helpful for the virtual world as well. We see that a lot. Final couple of corners here. We've not had a good final corner there across the line. 24, Jesus. I might happen to be terrible at this game, in case you haven't noticed. But what a very interesting championship story we've got for you today. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous considering we've got, you know, a couple drivers really on the cusp of getting themselves a good result and getting that championship. That past... that final half season for Reimer, you know, the first half looked as if he was dominating. This half season really did not look that way. Had a very difficult go of it. Oh, kind of blocked the chicane down by a good half a second now. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Sure has that vibe to it, like we're going to get ourselves one heck of a championship finale. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. It's been a great season, all season long with these guys, and it has to be said. In the initial offerings from this season, it did look as if Reimer was slightly going to dominate, but that's just not the case at the moment. Of course, he does have, what I believe is a 9-point lead in second place, so I've gotten buzzed. Hang on a second. Reimer does have a 9-point lead heading into tonight. That part is absolutely for true. Whether he holds on to this championship or not is going to be completely up to him, I think, at the end of the day. But as we look at the standings now, looks like we're going to get a... Goodness me. I've got to be coming down with something. I don't like this. Can we go to the nighttime in the official? Because this is... Some of these tracks would actually look quite good in the daytime, but as we say here in America, the nighttime does make all racing better. So where we get that opportunity to be under the night sky, we're absolutely going to take it. So let's see. Can I go for a quick hot lap? Better than... We'll go through a quick demonstration track guide, if you will, to this circuit. Oh, was that why? Because I was on a not preset setup. Very well could be the case. There we go. It's custom now. So, track guide to the Yas Marina circuit, the updated Yas Marina circuit here, the famous final corners we're going through now, and in towards turn 1. It's a very interesting first corner considering we don't have DRS down this pit straight. 8th gear down to about 4th, maybe 3rd if you're feeling a little bit on the risky side. Up the hill through turn 2 was a very dangerous corner nonetheless. In the old generation of cars, the back end of the car would come away from you quite frequently. Not really the case from what I'm feeling anymore, but I could be wrong. The hairpin there, finally we kind of got a better hairpin than what it was. Down one of the 2 back straights here, in towards this chicane. Remember, they also had the second one, which we're going to be getting up to in a minute here, down to about 2nd gear on the way through. Just kind of, sometimes you got to have to stab at the throttle just to get the back end of the car around a little bit more. DRS activated. Down the backstretch here, in towards the hairpin corner, the banked hairpin corner, which, if you remember what the old layout used to be, it used to be a series of off-camber chicanes. Well, it didn't really aid racing that, but this one I feel like has definitely been a good improvement to the circuit. Through this section here, which has been widened more to help the racing, in through the infamous Latifi corner now, it's what you'll hear me refer to it. The penultimate corner. Actually, quite surprised it's a bit flat out there, although I don't think I've taken the lap that well. Exit the corner. Don't get too far on the curve. It's not been a very good attempt, that last one. Let's see if I can better it here. Not bad. I haven't raced competitively in probably 2 years now, although I do operate a Dirt Rally 2.0 league, which you should definitely join if you're interested in that, because it is a lot of fun. Oh, catch it. It's kind of messed up this lap attempt as well, but either way, got about 15 minutes to go here until race time. It's currently 3:15 here on the East Coast. Expecting a massive snowstorm within the next hour, so you're kind of lucky we're getting you in here now. Invites will be out in 5 minutes' time, according to JAG Cheb. Invites will be out in 5 minutes. Five minutes or less here until invites are out for the final round of the season. Could you believe that? What a season it's been so far as well. So many twists and turns to this championship. Hope everybody's day is going well. Might want to pull up the track map for myself here in a second. Jag Cheb, thank you for the invite. Here we go. All right, we are in. Love to see that. Just make sure all my ducks are in a row here, or at least in the same pond. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Microphone level is not bad. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Oh, God. I don't know what I'm coming down with, but it is not good, I can tell you that much. Good to see Reimer on the grid today. Algeria on the grid as well. Reimer has the ability to take home the championship today, assuming the Aston Martin driver in question does not outscore him by 9 points or more. Well, he has to outscore him by 10 to win the title. Though I will say this, I did not see Maple Ace checked in. So that would be, I don't want to say a slight disappointment, but the next closest driver in the standings, aside from Maple Ace, is that of Marsbar, who needs, 26 points? Assuming he'll need to outscore Reimer by 27 points to win the title. Now, that means for him, 26 could tie. That'll mean the second place in the fastest lap, or just outright the win. And that's assuming Reimer doesn't score. Maple Ace, again, if he does decide to show up, is only a 9-point gap for him. We do also have our eyes on the Constructors' Championship between Mercedes and Aston Martin, which I believe coming into today is only a 2-point gap. I'm going to look at that really quick. Going into tonight, Aston Martin leads by 2 points, 246 to the 244 of Mercedes. Don't count Williams out either, 227. They're not entirely out of it either. They will need themselves a good result. I have a spreadsheet coded here to give me up to the minute driver and constructor championship results. Live points is a very neat feature to have, I will say that much. Appreciate y'all joining here. We do have ourselves about 10 minutes to go before the race is scheduled to kick off, or at least the qualifying session. Been an absolute pleasure joining y'all here so far this season, and I'm hoping that for your sake and for mine as well, we have ourselves a very good championship finale on the way. It's been a season of so many ups and downs. Realistically, we'll get into all the fine details in a minute, but been a very, very big pleasure joining y'all here this season. I'm very glad Reimer brought me along to this, because I tell you what, I have been enjoying this quite a lot. Zench, it's a new one. Haven't seen him yet. Fortunately, I did miss last week's race at Brazil, which very unfortunately, because not only was it a pivotal round of the championship, I do love the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, I believe is the full name of it. I do seriously love that Brazilian circuit, and so I'm actually very disappointed that I was not able to be there. But what I did do was we had a league versus league race that I commentated on. It was great fun. As we said at the circuit Spa, no weather, but there are plenty of twists and turns in that race as well. Not only the race, but the sprint weekend part of it as well, which the has to be said was very, very fun to watch. Once again, thank you all for joining. I'm going to go ping this race in my Thursday server real quick, just in case. Oh, my live link isn't working now. That's good news. So what I'm noticing that I really don't like about YouTube at the moment is just taking the channel art and using that as the thumbnail for the live stream, which makes no sense considering not only are we not in Gran Turismo 7, we're not in Grade 3 cars, we're also not at Spa. we How wrong could it have been? Well, about all three boxes have been checked on that one, but and what's weird is you can't also I don't believe you can edit the thumbnail as you're live either, which doesn't quite make sense, but I have not found the ability to do that yet. Once again, we got about 7 minutes now until the race is scheduled to go underway. If you're a fan of the American football like me, I'll get your sports scores report at the what? Delayed. What's happened here? What's going on with the football? Well, apparently the Chiefs-Ravens game has been delayed. What I do know is Kansas City is beating Baltimore 7-0 at the moment. As far as the Premier League is concerned, looks like we don't have any matches until next Tuesday. I believe today we were having some FA Cup fixtures, which is, I think what I did see was Manchester United did defeat Luton Town 4-2, which seems a very good game. Coming up this Tuesday, as far as the Premier League is concerned, Nottingham Forest takes on Arsenal, Luton Town takes on Brighton, Fulham and Everton, Crystal Palace and Sheffield, Aston Villa, Newcastle. For Wednesday, oh, I'm getting pinged here in the Discord. JAG bulletin board. Aware that the game sometimes gives corner cutting warnings when entering the pit lane. Yeah, well, that is true. We've been seeing that quite frequently. As far as the rest of match day 22, Manchester City take on Burnley on Wednesday. Tottenham takes on Brentford. Liverpool and Chelsea. That'll be a fun one to watch. West Ham and Bournemouth, and then Wolverhampton plays Manchester United. Up the Arsenal. Well, I tell you what, I was a big fan of Matt Turner. He played for our New England team. I saw him play in person many a times. He's slightly been underperforming at Nottingham Forest, which is quite a shame. But then again, the quality of football is so much better over there than it is here in the States. But hopefully, if he does play, he'll put on a good display against Arsenal. That'll be a fun little rematch for him. What other leagues do we have going on? I don't know. We did have FA Cup today, didn't we? Yeah, Manchester United beaten. Oh, it was Newport County they played today. Liverpool beat Norwich 5-2. Watford and Southampton finished 1-1. Wolves beat West Brom 2-0. I think that was the first slate. And then Blackburn plays Wrexham tomorrow at 2:30. As far as the EFL Championship is concerned, now I'm concerned with this because I am a Sunderland fan at heart, but let's see, who did we have play today? 4 minutes to go here until our session begins. We did have Sunderland beat Stoke yesterday 3-1, away the lads. Millwall beat Preston. Sorry, didn't beat Preston. They tied 1-1. Birmingham and Middlesbrough have been postponed. I don't really know why. Queen's Park and Huddersfield drew 1-1. Tuesday, Coventry and Bristol play. Leicester plays Swansea. And Sheffield Wednesday plays Watford. That all happening Tuesday and Wednesday of this coming week. What tournament is it going on now? I think AFCON we've got going on. I'm not going to lie, I haven't paid attention to football very much this weekend. I do know I was more concerned with watching the Daytona 24-hour, which was actually very quite entertaining. You don't oftentimes, especially in the second 12 hours, second half of the race, it doesn't usually get all that exciting. But what we did have was a caution going into the final half hour, and that really helped things. It was the Porsches taking the victory in the LMP class. That team owned by Roger Penske, if you do know IndyCar or NASCAR at all. 16 out of the 20 drivers on the in the lobby at the moment. At the moment, though, it has to be said, it does not look as if Maple Ace is in this session, which would limit our championship battle down to, I believe, just Mars Bar. I don't believe Jag Cheb is in position to take the championship. I don't believe he is. Even if he gets all the maximum points, he'll still be 4 points short. So the battle does belong to Mars Bar if he's able to score outscore Reimer by 26. Wondering why we don't have Maple Ace, considering he's so close to being able to win this championship. That doesn't make any sense to me why he wouldn't be here, but very unfortunate. We do have, as I said before, a 2-point gap between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes team. Aston Martin lead Mercedes 246 to Mercedes 244 entering tonight's Grand Prix. At the, should say new and improved Yas Marina circuit here. Do I go into the League One fixtures as well? I just like to keep an eye on the League One fixtures, just in case we get a really good team that thinks they're going to be up to the Prem in a couple years. This is where it starts. Well, actually, why don't I look at the championship table? At the moment, Leicester, I don't want to say dominating, but they do have a old layout was better. You see, I do know people that said that. That is true. I think as far as it's very difficult to say, because I know some people did really like those off-camber chicanes we had in the second into the third sector. I did think they were pretty unique. However, did it aid racing? Not always. Although it did create some pretty interesting moments, at least in the virtual world. I don't quite often think of things happening in real life where that took place. But I could see where the argument could be made. I really could. Through 28 matches played, Leicester does lead Ipswich Town 66 to 55. Which, Leicester City, if you're the downfall that they had and apparently trying to come on the way back up here, that'll be very good to see. Southampton makes up third at 58, only a point behind Ipswich. Leeds fourth, West Brom fifth, Coventry sixth. They're actually tied with Sunderland. I think Coventry is ahead on goal differential. Still hoping for my Sunderland boys to make it up back up to the Prem. That'd be a sight to see. Should be almost ready to go here for the final round, round 11 of the JAG Sunday Series. And what a championship it has been so far. I talked about it a couple times already. Reimer in the Ferrari really did dominate the first half of the season. And then a couple of tough races, tough results. The inconsistency was definitely there, and he's kind of left it slightly open, has to be said. Johnny Damon's in here. Hello, Johnny Damon. Cheb to win this race. Colin, I tell you what, Cheb has been on the he's been on the cusp of a couple good results recently. I don't know how well he did last week in Sao Paulo. Unfortunately, I wasn't along for that race, but he's been close a couple of times now. I don't think picking him to win would be all that out there. Unfortunately, I don't believe he's in contention to win the championship still. He is the maximum points per round is 31. He is outside of that. I think 34 is the gap he has to Reimer at the moment. Maple Ace, I don't believe, is here, which you only got 9 points down to the championship leader. Why are you not in the lobby? That doesn't make any sense to me. Unless he joins late. I mean, that could be the case. But, I mean, still, that is a slight disappointment to me. Again, I will say this once more. That of Mars Bar, who I believe is here, yes, taking up the Williams, he does have to score, what did I say it was? 20... Oh, what did I say it was? 27. He has to outscore Reimer by 27 points tonight in order to take the championship. I think he said he was working earlier in this week. That is such a shame. Hopefully he comes back for future seasons. I don't know how much of a regular he is here, but I tell you what, he has been fun to watch as well. As I was on about, Marsbar does have to pretty much, he has to win, essentially. 26 points to tie. Now that is second place plus the win. He does need 27 in order to defeat Reimer. So that would call for Reimer not scoring and then Marsbar winning the Grand Prix. That'd be the only other way. I believe Reimer does have it on the tiebreaker, at least with the wins. Well, I would assume he does. Reimer's won a couple of rounds this season, has to be said. So Marsbar needs a lot. He's not out of the question. The real battle comes to the constructor standings tonight. Once again, Mercedes lead Aston Martin leads Mercedes by 2 points, 246 to 244. In the constructor standings. That's going to be a fun one to watch here. 18 drivers on the grid tonight so far. I will be providing you up to the minute championship standings, as I do have I've programmed a spreadsheet here to and it's just a drag and drop to give me live point standings. Should be a very fun one tonight. Once more, I seriously appreciate the opportunity that's been given to me to commentate this league. It's been very, very fun. One of the most internationally and skill-diverse leagues I have ever seen. Quite honestly, this is absolutely incredible. Johnny Damon, Reimer going to win. Not a bad pick. I'm being pinged here. Got to blame work, I'm afraid. Won't be home until 11 p.m. Yikes. That is unfortunate. What time is it in London now? Gee, it's only 8:30. That is mega unfortunate, has to be said. So that pretty much sums up the, well, I'm not going to speak too soon, that part's for sure. I have seen stranger things. But you never know. Hopefully we're going to be getting underway here in a little bit. Officially 4 minutes past the start time of 15:30, at least in Eastern time. Sport for Reimer coming in. Tell you what, I will say this. If Reimer does win the championship tonight, which it almost pretty certainly looks as if he will, I mean, he will have absolutely earned it. That part is for sure. You know, I think, again, this second half of the season has been very, very difficult for Reimer. He's not won a round. The last time he even finished on the podium was, and if I'm looking at this correctly, the last time he finished on the podium was round 6 at Monza. He finished P4 last week in Brazil. Did not finish in Japan. Again, it has to be said, if he does win the championship tonight, which it does look as if he will have absolutely earned it. He had a dominant first half of the season. Took, I believe, 3 rounds in a row in the early goings. I think had Maple Lace had been here, and we would have gotten ourselves a proper two-weight fight to the championship here, it would have gone either way. But, once again, the situation is this. Marsbar will need to win, and Reimer to not score in order for Marsbar to win the title tonight. As far as the constructor standings goes, it is anyone's game. So it's going to be a very fun one to look out for here. Okay, but why do we have a guy named Ferrari in the McLaren? Ferrari in the McLaren! That's going to be a fun one. Well, it looks like we have been given the signal to ready up here for the final round of the JAG Sunday Series season. Round 11 at the Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi. Hopefully we're going to be in for a good one here. Thank you all for joining. Feel free to promote the stream, subscribe, comment, like, do whatever the hell you want. We are here, and it's going to be a fun one. No doubt about that. It's a shame I'm slightly becoming ill here, but because his name is Rafa. Ah, I see. It's a play on words. Yeah. Okay, very interesting. Huh, I like that. Very clever. Very clever. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final round of the JAG Sunday Series season, round 11 at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi for what should be a very entertaining final round of the season. The Drivers' Championship, as I've mentioned already, has pretty much already been wrapped up. Reimer pretty much just needs to score in today's Grand Prix, and he will have won the title. As far as the Constructors' Championship is concerned, Aston Martin lead Mercedes 246 to 244 on their way into tonight's round, so it is really up for grabs. I do have programmed a spreadsheet here that will give me up to the minute constructor standings. Well, and driver standings, if we did need them. Unfortunately, as it was, the second place of the championship, Maple Lace was not going to make tonight's Grand Prix. It was only a 9-point gap between the top two. So very unfortunate we're not going to get that, but the next up in line is that of Marsbar, who will need to win, and Reimer to not score in order to win tonight's championship. Tonight at the, once again, the Yas Marina circuit, it's one of those tracks that I feel, at least until now, hasn't really... I don't know, I think it's at a weird place in the schedule. I don't necessarily believe this track to be that good. I mean, it's a fun track, don't get me wrong, but does it have the history to be hosting the final round of the season? Of course, you do think of a couple memorable moments. You think of Sebastian Vettel in his first world title. Of course, night and Quali's sun in the race, no rain. Well, I was hoping not. We are in the desert after all, but thank you for that. It's very interesting that the dynamic that this track has. You know, sometimes I often think to myself why we have this circuit as the season finale again. Good luck, Reimer. Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, all he needs to do is score tonight, and he will win the championship. And by goodness me, it has been at least the first half of the season was very dominant from him. This second half of the season, again, he has not finished on the podium since round 6 at Monza. Did not finish in Japan, finished 4th in Brazil last week. Gonna have the Alpine of Zench on our first time lap here, but again, as I was saying, until recently, this track really hasn't got that much history to be, that final round. I think we're getting to the point now where it's pretty okay, but a couple of years ago, I would argue that this track doesn't deserve to be the final round, but I tell you what, the improvements, now, some people disagree with me, and rightfully so. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and definitely valid, but I do believe that this new version of the track has improved the racing. People did like the chicanes that were going in through Sector 3. It was actually a pretty unique part of the circuit, but did it help racing? Not exactly, although it did provide some carnage here and there, which was quite fun to see. But what we do have now is the Alpine of Zench, going to be coming through the final corner here and onto the first time lap of the session. No DRS down the pit straight, one of only 3 circuits to have that. 4 actually now, including Vegas. Through the first corner, very tight 90-degree corner, up the hill through turns 3 and 4. Gotta be careful of the back end of your car coming around up through the hill there. Very, very difficult to get correctly. Down the hill into the hairpin now. This is a much better hairpin than what we used to have with the sudden left, right, and then the hairpin. It's actually much nicer now. Down one of the 2 back straights all the way down towards turn 6. Turn 6 and 7 here, the chicane. Gets into the first corner. Just got to tap the throttle a couple times here, maybe just to get the back end of the car around a little bit more. Exits through turn 8. DRS activated here, down the back stretch now. And in towards the banked hairpin sweeper corner of turn 9. More of a NASCAR-style corner, which we're seeing more and more in F1 nowadays. in towards Sector 3 now. 10, 11 into the braking zone at turn 12. Very difficult corner to get correctly. 13, the Latifi corner of turn 14, and yes, that is what I will refer to that as forever and always. Penultimate corner now, turn 15, and in towards turn 16. Pretty easily taken final couple of corners. Got to watch out for the curb there off the final corner. That you do tend to get some oversteer, some wheel spin on the way out. But Zench goes 122, 832. Currently, provisional pole. Jake Snowwolf has gone second, 123, 712. And at the moment, the two Alpines atop the table. Jag Cheb's second at 4.5 tenths behind. But the question is, where does Reimer come home? That's going to be the massive question on my mind. I think essentially, as long as he pretty much... Well, I don't think there is a point for pole. Not that I remember. Remember, as long as Reimer scores tonight, he will wrap up the title. Either that or I believe he has to score like 2 points, something very small like that. All he needs to do is pretty much finish today's Grand Prix, and he will be crowned the JAG Series S champion. Once again, I'll have points standings by the minute at your disposal. But for now, the qualifying session it is. Reimer through the Latifi corner now. Well, a little bit wide through there. I thought maybe he could have kept the car in a little bit. It looks as if maybe he's got a slightly understeery setup on. So the line goes Reimer, who will go second, 122.941, almost within a tenth of the current provisional pole sitter of Zench. Not a bad lap whatsoever there. Baniklash, in the time being, had gone third, about a tenth and a half off the pace of our provisional pole sitter at the moment. Remember, Baniklash in a crucial fight for the championship here with the teammate of Algieri and the two Aston Martins. Remember, they need to outscore Aston Martin by 2 points tonight in order to become the Constructors' champions. Two of the most consistent teams on the grid. That has absolutely been the case the entire season. Baniklash has been very, very talented in his own right. Algieri hasn't put in as many good results, although I tell you what, he's been able to at least be on the finishing side of the equation multiple times. That is a good way to be the anchor for the team and put together some good results. 18 cars on the grid for tonight, and I do believe we will have one more joining. Though at the moment, I'm not entirely sure when that will be. I believe we do have, this is the Aston Martin of Rise. Coming through to start a time lap here. In through the first corner, 90-degree left-hander. Looks like he's held it pretty well. Up the hill through turn 2, 3, and then back down through turn 4. Currently over a tenth quicker through the first sector. Exits turn 5 down the straight here. DRS activated. Keep an eye on the top speeds as well. That'll definitely be one thing to keep an eye out for. Let's see what Rise has here as he gets to the braking zone. 204 miles an hour is what he clocked out at on the way into the braking zone of turn 6 and 7. 11 minutes and 10 seconds remaining here in the session. Down the backstretch now is Rise. In toward the hairpin corner of turn 9. Does take a slightly wider line through the corner than what we've seen. Although when you have those banked corners, it does allow you to have the outside line and still carry a lot of speed on the way out. 12, 13, Latifi corner coming up here. A little bit slow through that combination of corners. I think he could have taken it slightly faster, but for the time being, he's done all right. Up to the final corner now. Back on the throttle and across the line he goes. It's only P6, 123.457. Improves by half a second. Leapfrogs his teammate of Wee at the moment. Not a bad attempt there from Rise. Still a lot of time left. He could get even better. Zench here on an outlap in the Alpine. Coming through behind him is one of the Williams drivers. Was that of Marsbar, the other driver in this Drivers' Championship equation. Remember, he does have to win tonight, and Reimer to not score in order to be crowned the Drivers' Champion. It's a lot of work to do. But as he resides P3 in the standings, he's done so for a reason. So anything's possible here. Through the first corner he goes. looking pretty okay for the moment. In towards the turn 5 hairpin. What does he have here? Looks pretty good. Makes a good line through the corner. Exits very nicely. DRS activated here. Highest top speed we've seen so far was 204. On the way into the turn 6 and 7 chicane now. Look at that, 207 on the way in for Marsbar. That is the fastest top speed we've seen so far. Although it does appear that the car is slightly understeery, which, some drivers prefer that, some don't. I will say this generation of car, with how much extra downforce is being applied, some drivers will tend to set their car up understeery just as it's more stable, but it is up to drivers' preference. This track, I would expect to see a solid balance between downforce and straight line speed. Of course, the second sector really quick. The first and third, not really. Through the Latifi corner he goes, in towards now the penultimate of turn 15 and turn 16. Looking a halfway decent lap here for Marsbar, and across the line he goes. He will go 9th, 123.646. So not bad, but I'm assuming where he is lacking in the downforce may have hurt his time. He's got a lot of work to do here to get himself even within the top 5. It's about cut his time in half. 0.4 of a second in the positive direction. I tell you what, he may have an opportunity to be top 5. Still a lot of time left in the session. You have the Haas of Will King coming to an outlap here. Spider, oh, what was that? Well, we got the AlphaTauri of Jake Snow Wolf. This is off at the hairpin coming out of the corner. Oh, goodness me, and he's taking the Williams with him. Well, he's backed clean across the surface. He will rightfully pick up a 5-place grid penalty for the collision with Yorkie, who Yorkie, to this point in time, has not put together a timed lap attempt. This is his timed lap, and Jake Snowwolf backs clean across the circuit and into the front of the Williams here. Well, 7.5 minutes to go. Yorkie is not going to be happy about that one, and, we were alone with Jake Snowwolf for the entire ride of that one. I believe the Aston Martin of Wee has actually just gone P4. Yes, he has, within 2.5 tenths, improved by half a second over his previous time. Bandiclash on a timed lap now in through the turn 5 hairpin. Exits the corner. Oh, a bit of wheel spin there. You can see he just had to snap the car in the right direction, and I believe he's gone too far over the white line coming out of the hairpin, and that will be the end of his timed lap attempt. Very unideal there, has to be said. We do have Jag Cheb, who I don't believe is on a timed lap at the moment. Out of the final corner now is the Haas of Will King, who looks to be on a pretty halfway decent lap. Yes, he is, 123.121. Improves by nearly 0.2 of a second. Moves within 4/100ths of Wee for the 4th spot. So not a bad result whatsoever. 6.5 minutes remaining in the session here. Do have the McLaren of Rafa, who's just come around the line now. I believe he's gone P14, improves by over 1.5 seconds, but not good enough to improve any farther above that. Reimer, 122.467 currently. Provisional pole for him, improves, and I think beats out Zench by about 2.5 of a second there. Very good from Reimer. To have the Mercedes of Algeria coming through turn 9 now. Oh, but I don't believe this is going to be a timed lap for him. Yeah, he's about 8 seconds slower. And he's going to be on low fuel here in a minute. Ferrari of peak hour on his way out. Remember, the Williams are still in this championship battle as well. I think they will need a slight bit more work than the Aston Martin and Mercedes teams ahead of them. But say something happens and we get a situation where maybe one or, only one of each team finishes here. Let's say Bandiclash has an off in the first beginning of the lap as well as we, and Williams, both drivers finish. It could very well be in the picture that Williams take the Constructors' Championship. They'll have a lot more work to do, but I believe it is still possible. Coming out on an outlap now, we do have the Alpine of Zench, who was provisional pole sitter up until just recently. Currently resides 3.5 tenths off of provisional pole at the moment. 4 minutes and 45 seconds to go now in the session, and we do have relatively, I would say, at least a good 4 or 5 drivers here who are decently in position to take the top spot. The top 9 separated by that first second, all the way down to Rise, who currently sits just under a second off of that provisional pole time. So Zench about to start another lap here. Through the Latifi corner he goes. Coming through here, in now towards 15 and 16. Remember, he was provisional pole sitter until just a couple of minutes ago. 4 minutes remaining in the session here. Zench on his way now. DRS not activated naturally. One of only 4 circuits on the... 3 or 4 circuits on the schedule that do not have DRS on the pit straight. Oh, and I don't know what happened to him there. Did he bottom out coming off of the curb through turn 1? That's absolutely what it seemed like. That car would just not pick up rubber. No acceleration there for Zench. Thankfully, he's got 3.5 minutes left here. He's got the recharge on. The tires, I would say, still in relatively good enough position to put together another timed attempt when he gets done with this. But very odd error there coming out of the first corner for Zench. And I think he just bottomed out on the curb coming off the corner, and that's why you saw the car refuse to pick up traction. We do have the Ferrari of peak hour, who I believe, is he coming in? No, he's just come across the line. 124, 194, improves by 3.5 tenths. Not enough to improve on the leaderboards. He still resides P15. What we do have now is Yorkie making his way through the Latifi corner now. Yorkie, if you had just missed it, was on a timed attempt. Oh, and there you go! It almost happened again. So, Yorkie was coming out on a timed attempt, coming out of turn 5, and it was the AlphaTauri of Jake Snow-Wolf, who had gone off, exiting the hairpin, backed across the circuit, clean across the nose of the Williams, and Jake Snow-Wolf will be receiving a 5-place grid penalty for that incident. 2.5 minutes to go in the session now. Yorkie, with the Williams team still relatively in position to make some waves in this Constructors' Championship battle, he will need a good qualifying effort here. Still, does not have a timed attempt on the board, making his way into the turn 5 hairpin now. Looks pretty halfway decent, has to be said. Let's see what he hits for top speed here. Highest we've seen so far was 207, which I believe was set by Marsbar and his teammates. And he'll max out at 204 into the braking zone. We do have Zench coming through the hairpin now. Sorry, he's about to... Well, he's actually on a time lap here, Zench. Sorry, I must have missed that. DRS activated here for Zench. Making his way, as it looks as if Jag Greg has retired from the session. In towards turn 6, maxes out at 203 miles an hour. Maybe on the low side of the average as far as top speed is concerned, but what we're noticing here is that the downforce is very crucial to those on good time laps. Reimer was not much faster at all. I think he maxed out at 204 going down that straight. Zench is currently a tenth of a second faster going in towards sector 3. What does he have here as he makes his way through the very tight and twisty third sector? 12, 13, and eventually the Latifi corner of turn 14. Exits the corner now, does well for the time being. This will be his final attempt. He's going to be coming around the line here shortly. 55 seconds remaining. Good acceleration on exit. Does he get it? No, he misses out by 13 one-thousandths of a second. And a lap which, for the most part, looks properly flawless, ends up microscopically short, has to be said. 30-some-odd seconds remaining here. It looks as if Baniklash is going to be coming around the final corner here to start one. Yes, he does. 25 seconds remaining here. We do have next up one of the Ferraris. It is Reimer starting one here. Behind him, the AlphaTauri of Jake Snow-Wolf. Oh, Reimer got a bit squirrely coming out of the first corner. That will probably mean his attempt is over. He has significantly lost time coming out of the first corner. Let's see to the timing line now. He is slower, albeit is only less than a tenth, but it will be noticeable. Will King in the Haas has just come across the line. He's improved by 0.5 of a second. Goes third. Baniklash down the back straight now, in towards the braking zone at the chicane. 203 miles an hour is what he maxes out as. Ali has gone P4 in the Alfa Romeo, half a second behind. DRS activated here for Baniklash, coming through towards the turn 9 sweeper. The banked left-handed corner. He currently has improved by over 2.5 tenths of a second. For the time being, this will move him at least to the second row for 4th place. Out of the final corner now is the Aston Martin of Wee, who has invalidated his final attempt. Behind him, I believe, will be the Alpine of Zench, who has not improved, and that will be the end of his session. Baniklash coming through the penultimate corner now, and then finally the final corner. Does he have enough to improve here? It looks as if he's been on a great attempt so far. Across the line, only 4th. 122.614, improves by nearly 4 tenths of a second, but only leapfrogs Ali there. He will be on the second row, unless, does Fear Luke have anything to say against it here, as he comes across the line, P6 for Fear Luke. And Bergen has invalidated his, Will King has finished his, so the championship leader of Reimer in the Ferrari has got himself pole position here. That is undoubtedly a great start to the race for him. That is exactly the type of result he needed. Good effort there from Will King and Baniklash in the final couple of minutes there. Will King slightly came out of nowhere, had to be said. So did Ali as well. Ali was nowhere to be found, and then suddenly finds himself in the top 5. Great result for him. So, Ferrari of Reimer on pole, Zench second. By a very close margin as well, that has to be said. Very, very good effort from the Alpine. But unfortunately, he is just short. So, your starting grid for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the season finale. It's Reimer on pole, a full Canadian front row as Zench qualifies second as well. Will King third, Baniklash fourth, Ali fifth, Lucas sixth, the Wee is seventh, eighth is Marsbar, ninth is Jag Cheb, and 10th is Jag Greg. 11th is Rise, 12th is Bergen, 13th is Jake Snow Wolf. Remember, he does have a 5-place grid penalty for the collision with the other Williams. Algeri 14th, Rafa 15th, Peak Hour 16th, Spider 17th, Yorkie 18th, and unfortunately Ramos did not put together a timed attempt there. Well, I tell you what, the top, 11 cars separated by that 1 second mark. We will have ourselves a good finish to this season. But Reimer, well, it's only half over for him now. Remember, he has to score to win the championship. Let's see if he does. Entertaining session that, towards the end. Well, if you haven't already, now would be a good time to lock in your picks for tonight's Grand Prix. Tell you what, Reimer is probably the safe bet. However, a lot of drivers within that window of being in contention here. One mistake, and he very well could be losing out on today's win. But either way, I think he's got to be feeling that pressure as well. He knows there are some very talented drivers around him. Under the night sky here at the Yas Marina Circuit. A track that has undergone some big changes recently. Now, I mentioned this before, but I would much rather this track start out at the backstretch in towards the turn 9 sweeper. I don't think I actually mentioned it here, but I think it would be much better for this track than actually starting where they are. But that's just me. I don't know. Imagine that run with a DRS out of the final corner of turn 7, the chicane. What a race to the finish that would be, but either way. So I believe Las Vegas Silverstone, and this are the only 3 on calendar without DRS going down the pit straight, I believe. No, Japan has it going down theirs. I don't think I'm missing one. Well, formation lap about to be underway here. Hopefully. Yep, there we are. That was risky. Well, let's see here. The majority of the field taking the medium tires, as I would probably expect here. Zench on the hards, Fear Luke on the hards, and Ramos on the hards as well. Marsbar has taken the softs, which I find it definitely tells me he is waiting for that early safety car so he could come in and fit the hard tires and really do himself a favor. Oh, did I start the hard recording? I don't think I did. Oh, there's not enough available storage space. Oh, that's great. What a time to have that problem. Anyways. So Marsbar on the softs, that tells me he's going to play it very, very aggressive off the line here, at least with the pit strategy. That tells me he is either looking to make up some places in the off, or he's looking to hold out for the first safety car and get himself on good terms with tire strategy. But who very well could be the impending driver's champion of Reimer. Remember, he just needs to score today in order to win the championship. Zench in second. Baniklash fighting for the Constructors' Championship, along with his teammate of Algeri. Now, I will say, it was a very, I would almost say, even qualifying session. Well, I would almost say, as a matter of fact, the Mercedes won that battle. Baniklash 4th, Marsbar 8th, Algeri 13th, Yorkie 17th. So unless Yorkie plays a good strategy game here and kind of stays out of trouble, or no, I'm looking at the wrong ones here, aren't I? Yes, I am. I was looking at the pair of the Williams. As far as the Aston Martins are concerned, I would say they may have beat out the Mercedes, considering P7 for Wii, P11 for Rise. But again, they are in the heart of the field here. They may be seriously in trouble off the start here. Could very well be the case. But coming up to the line here, we have Zench in the Alpine on the inside. He is definitely angled his car in, trying to find the left front tire of Reimer there, trying to, if he gets a good enough start, he'll have that line into the first corner. Baniklash 4th. Needs a clean getaway here. Looks like Will King and Ali have not found the grid correctly. They will be at a slight disadvantage here off the start. But Reimer could be 29 laps away from a championship. It's up to him. Let's see if he's able to pull it off here, as the lights should and will be turning on here. 3, 4, and eventually 5. And for the final time in the JAG Sunday Series, we are off, and it looks as if Zench did get a good start, but Reimer has gotten away better, and he will clear the Alpine before they get into the first corner behind them. Baniklash goes down to the inside on Will King. Seems like everybody's gotten away well. We and Greg side by side. Oh, may have been contact there between Will King and Baniklash. For the time being, they stay okay. Side by side now is Ali and Will King here. Baniklash ahead of them, but for the time being, it is side by side through the first corner. The fifth corner. Zench on the outside. Reimer doing his best, but now Reimer has lost any semblance of a slipstream here. He will be overtaken by the Alpine of Zench. Although he's going to hang it down to the left side there. What an effort for Reimer into the chicane. How he was able to keep up that whole time surprises me. There's Baniklash, who was down to the inside. Oh, in contact there with the Haas. That is big news for the Mercedes then. And it looks as if we have a yellow flag at the back. Perhaps the McLaren of Rafa and Jake Snow-Wolf, something has happened with them. Reimer and Zench side by side in towards turn 9. Brilliant opening lap here between these two. Reimer to the bottom. Zench will have better speed on the outside. And it looks as if, does Zench clear him? Only just and only for now. Through turns 10, 11, and 12. Yellow flag at the back, and it's the Ferrari of peak hour. And it looks as if Will King and Baniklash now, they want a battle here as they make their way to the Latifi corner. Zench has cleared Reimer for the time being, as we have another yellow flag. It's Jake Snow-Wolf at the back. Very chaotic opening lap there, but it looks as if for the time being, everybody has, well, at the very least, gotten away, and we still have all 19 drivers who started this Grand Prix on track. We do have Zench leading Reimer by half a second for the time being. Baniklash, who has remained stagnant on the start here. Oh, that's a big one! And it's Algeri, a driver who is crucial to this championship. The Constructors' Championship, at least, has gone around and is at the back of the grid. We do now have Peak Hour and Ramos side by side. Sorry, this is Greg trying it around the outside of Ramos through the turn 5 hairpin. Oh, and there was definite contact there, but it looks as if Greg will get away. Oh, that was a close one there. It looks as if Spider's gotten around Bergen for the 11th spot. Rises up 2. Wee is down 3. Baniklash has stayed the same. Algeri has lost 5. So for the time being, I would say the advantage is still in the favor of perhaps the Aston Martin team, who enter today 2 points ahead of Mercedes for the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Reimer doing his best here, staying within contention of the top spot here. He's not necessarily pushing the envelope so much. He's just trying to keep it clean, although Zench has definitely made a mistake there, and Reimer may look to capitalize. Oh, and Will King has gone around, and I think Baniklash has as well. This is a horrid start for the Mercedes team, as Baniklash falling down the order now, and I think has he lost front wing as well? No, but he's definitely been tangled up with somebody there, and I think it was the Haas of Will King. So unfortunate for Baniklash and the Mercedes team. They needed a good result today, and for the time being, of course, still a lot of racing left to go. It does not look as if, like that good result will be coming their way. DRS, however, will be activated this time by, so Reimer might have an advantage here over the Alpine of Zench as they make their way out of turn 5. Let's see, is he able to make that move happen? Oh, but I think now, we will be having, this is the Aston Martin of Wee, and I think as well, a couple of drivers involved in that, but just as we were talking about the poor start for the Mercedes team, the Aston Martin doesn't look as if he's gotten away any better. Reimer does get away ahead of Zench in that, he does get ahead of Zench in that whole exchange, but Algeri has retired from the session here on the 3rd lap of the Grand Prix, and that almost, I would say, pretty much wraps up Aston Martin's championship here, unless are the Williams going to outscore the Aston Martins enough to make them relevant in this championship battle? That's going to be the big question. Zench behind Reimer here by about 0.5 of a second. We do have as well the Red Bull of Fear Luke down to the inside on Wee. He has made that spot happen. We do have the Alfa Romeo of Jag Greg off at the back. This is exiting turn 9. Rafa's picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. And Reimer leads Zench by a second now as they make their way onto the 4th lap. And also the fastest lap for Reimer as well. Lots of calamity on the opening laps there. Jag Cheb, is he under pressure from Rise, or is he going to pressure Marsbar? I would say Marsbar is definitely in the hot seat here. He does not have DRS. Oh, but I think the back end of Cheb's Alpine has gotten away from him there, going through the hairpin, and now is very much under pressure from Rise. Does he have anything? Is he going to look down to the inside? Yes, he will. Side by side, they're going to be in towards turn 6. And I think Rise, is he going to get him? Yes, for the time being, it looks like he will. Algeri's left the session. What we do have now is, I don't think Zench has gotten away well out of the chicane. He's been overtaken by Ali. Ali, who started 5th, now finds himself 2nd, albeit he's down a 1.5 seconds almost to Reimer. And Reimer being in a good spot at the moment, outside of that DRS range for the Alfa Romeo behind. Well, I think if you're Yorkie, who was planning, Marsbar, who was planning on the early safety car, it may not be happening at this moment in time. Unless, I will say, a lot of the field's still bunched up here. We could see something happen. But for the time being, Marsbar's undercut strategy does not look like it'll work. Still a lot of racing left to go here. Who have I been pinged by? I don't know. For the time being, we do have Rise looking down to the inside on Marsbar. Remember, these two drivers realistically now battling for the championship here. Jag Greg and the Alfa Romeo is retired. Down to the inside is Rise, and I think maybe are we already seeing the soft tires becoming the caveat for Marsbar, as not only has he lost a spot to the Aston Martin of Rise, he's lost an additional one to the Alpine of Cheb, who was able to use the DRS and get around the Williams of Marsbar very nicely. Rafa within position here, although he does have the Ferrari of Peak Hour down to the inside. Contact definitely made there. Wee gets around Peak Hour. And I'm hoping no wing damage was done to the Ferrari, because that was definitely contact made there between Rafa and Peak Hour. Ferrari still in pursuit, though, for the time being. Jag Cheb doing his best to hold on to Rise here. Rise is in quite the hole at the moment. 3 seconds, nearly 3.5 seconds. Back to Zench. What I will say is this, though. Zench is in a tough spot here at the moment. He's on the hards, which will mean he's ready for the overcut. But Ali currently has a 1.5-second gap back to Reimer, and he's on the mediums as well. So this is significantly holding up Zench here. Although at the moment, it has to be said, Zench has not really shown the pace to kind of get around the Alfa Romeo. But someone who will be getting around another is Cheb, trying to look for the right side on Rise. In towards turn 5, Rise goes low. Cheb switches down to the bottom on the exit, and it looks as if Cheb will get away better. Is he able to hold on to the Aston Martin here? He'll look to the inside. And for the time being, yes, it does look as if Jag Cheb will get ahead of Rise. And I don't think Rise is ready to give up just yet, and especially now Marsbar is in this battle as well. Banniclash has gotten around Yorkie, and it's good to see Banniclash still on track after the conundrum he had just a couple of laps ago. And now finally it looks as if Zench has gotten around Ali on the way into the turn 9 hairpin, or sweeper, whatever it is. Rise down to the inside, Rise on the outside of Jag Cheb here. Bergen, Bergen has gone around here. Well, Bergen, I think, for the time being, was within a couple of tenths of Spider. And I think the back end of the car may have gotten around from the Red Bull there. He was very close, and then suddenly he was nearly stationary going through turn 9. Ali is 0.7 of a second away from Zench, and he's not exactly getting any closer either. Well, albeit he is improving a little bit now. But we'll have to wait and see how that one develops. Rise trailing Jag Cheb by 0.6. Marsbar trailing Rise by 0.9. The field getting slightly spread out here. Closest battle on track does happen to be this battle between the McLaren of Rafa and the Ferrari of Peak Hour, who now Peak Hour trying to look for the left side. Rafa, unfortunately for him, for Peak Hour rather, was not going to afford him the real estate. And in towards turn 5 they go. Not only is this, but the AlphaTauri of Jake Snowwolf wants into the picture as well. For the time being, it does look as if Jake Snowwolf is going to be trailing these two here. Peak Hour does have DRS. Is he going to be able to get around Rafa in time? I think Rafa may have outbraked the Ferrari there, side by side. And the McLaren of Rafa will stay ahead for the time being. Bergen has gotten around Yorkie with the aid of DRS. Rise now within 2.5 tenths to Jag Cheb for the 4th spot. Going through Latifi corner now. Still going to be some time before we see the pit window open for these drivers on the medium tires. What I am curious to see is when Marsbar decides to come in. Remember, he was in a very good position earlier on in the race, but then, as those soft tires deteriorated, he was quickly on the back foot and now finds himself 1.5 seconds outside this battle for the 4th and 5th spot. We'll check back with these two in a minute. What we do have is Fear Luke within a couple of tenths on Yorkie here as they make their way through turns 2 and 3. Yorkie didn't look as if he had gotten away well out of turn 1. We'll have to wait and see. Into turn 5 they go. Fear Luke, I don't believe he's going to be close enough now. Oh, we do have the Ferrari. It's Peak Hour, who's gone around atop the hill. This is through turn 2. I don't believe he's hit anything, but that has almost not gotten very well at all. Banniclash now getting around Spider for the 7th spot, and Banniclash doing his best he can to try to claw back some of the lost ground from earlier on in the race, although now he does have a 4-second disadvantage to the Williams of Marsbar. Rise within 0.5 second here of Cheb as they make their way in through Sector 3. Reimer has a 1.5 second advantage. Oh, but it looks as if, there's something happened here. Yes, Banniclash is around, and the safety car is out. Well, Banniclash, I don't know if he's had help there from Spider, but he's gone around exiting turn 9, And the front wing is gone, and that's what's brought out the safety car. And now, Zench stays out, being that he started on the hards. Reimer on the way in. And what I would assume here will be the hard tires going on the Ferrari. Yes, it is. And Ramos, a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car for him. So that'll allow Zench to take the top spot. Reimer will drop to second. Ali will keep third. Cheb fourth. Rise fifth. Now just allow me to punch in our... Uh-oh, Ali, a 5-second penalty for a collision with Reimer. And the front wing is missing from that Alfa Romeo. What has happened there? Well, I didn't expect that. Well, we'll have to see. Still calling Cheb to win. I tell you what, he's not in a bad position so far. Allow me for a minute here. I'm just going to do on the fly calculating here with the points. So Yorkie occupies 9th. And Zench is on his way in. On the hards. Will he lose any positions at the time being? It doesn't quite look like it. So Algieri doesn't finish. Baniklash P13. Rise for the time being will be P4. Get well soon, hot spot. You need a whiskey for those sniffles. Well, I tell you what, that is about as true as it could possibly be. that is absolutely the case there. What we do have now, Ali losing spots as he's on his way into the pit lane. Algeria has not finished the Grand Prix here tonight. We, for the time being, makes up 9th. Baniklash up to 12th now. Ramos, a second drive-through penalty for speeding into the safety car. That is the second time he's picked that up. Well, for the time being, what I can tell you is that the Aston Martin team, for the time being, does have the lead of the constructors' standings. The Williams team down 19 to the top spot on the way in tonight. The Mercedes team have not had themselves the best results so far. And the safety car taking its laps around the circuit for the time being. Zench leads the charge. Zench now, I believe, in the mediums. Yes, he is. So he will have the immediate advantage to the cars around him, that being Reimer, Cheb, and Rise, all being on the hards. Marsbar occupying 5th, being on the mediums. That'll help him as well. Yorkie being on the softs, though, that seems like a very bold strategy to me. Has to be said. Does not look as if... I mean, I don't know. Maybe we get it... The old adage goes that safety car breeds other safety car. So by that logic, Yorkie may have made a good decision here. Whether that's the case or not... I mean, I don't know. Still a lot of racing left to go here. That part's for sure. We do have... Ramos and Piekauer on their way in. Well, actually, Piekauer is not, but Ramos serving, I believe, one of his drive-thrus there. So Ramos still has an additional drive-through penalty. According to my calculations, the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. That'll be entering the 12th lap of the Grand Prix, getting closer to halfway, not quite. Zench and Reimer battled hard early. Trading the spot back and forth a couple of times. I don't want to say Cheb is on the outside looking in here, but I tell you what, for the time being, especially considering that Zench is on the medium tires, Reimer behind on the hards, Cheb is going to have a bit of work to do here. Although I would think, along with the rest of the runners on the hard tires, he would be set to the end of the Grand Prix. Safety car is on its way in at the end of this lap. About to begin the 12th lap of the Grand Prix here, out of 29. And it doesn't look as if my brother's going to go to his football match after all. Our drive is not bad, but in this part of the country, when you're expecting a foot of snow, you kind of don't do anything that's going to compromise. An hour south as well, and the storm coming upwards. Yeah, I would assume that that's probably why they have not left yet. The time is currently 4:23. Mother said they were going to leave around 4:15. Yeah, I would assume he's just not going to be going here. Zench will be leading the grid around the final corner now, entering the 12th lap of the 12th lap of the Grand Prix. They are underway. Green flag back in the air once more. Yellow flag already at the back. What has happened there? I think Ramos is on his way in now. That was interesting. Was that a situation where Ramos tried to get to the inside and get into the pit lane, and peak hour was standing there? Was that why we saw the yellow flag? What I do know is this: Zench already has a second gap over Reimer. Reimer, I would say, slightly under pressure here from Cheb, but Cheb doesn't look as if he's gotten away well out of the hairpin corner there. We do have the Haas of Will King, who has gone off at the hairpin, and I hope he hasn't hit anything, because that would not be ideal for him. Fear Luke has gotten around Wee for the 9th spot. In and out of the chicane they go. Cheb now within half a second of Reimer. Yorkie, a 3-second penalty for him. That is not going to be what the Williams team needed or wanted. 0.2 of a second in closing here. I'd say what Cheb is really on the... He is really on the rear wing of Reimer here. Reimer seems to apparently be on the back foot, especially in the early goings here. Of course, Zench being on the medium tires is going to be getting away quicker here for the time being, but Cheb looks like he's not in a bad spot. Through the Latifi corner they go. Marsbar in behind by about 0.4 of a second back to Rise. How aggressive does Rise play this? Because he knows that the Mercedes team is handicapped and the Williams team was already down by 19 points entering tonight as well. Does Rise take it easy and, get that good result that confirms the Aston Martin championship, or does he try to push his luck and get any more? What we do know is this: Wee has lost a couple of positions there. One to Bandiklash and one to Ali as well. So that hasn't helped the Aston Martins. 0.2 of a second here in closing. Rise trying his best to get to Cheb. 1/10 and closing now. Cheb having the slipstream ahead of him from Reimer probably was the reason why he did not get overtaken then. As we're going to be entering the halfway point of the Grand Prix here very shortly. Ali has just gotten around Bandiklash. Bandiklash, who may have had a bit of a struggle going through the chicane. Ali down to the inside of Fear Luke here in towards turn 9. Does he keep it? Yes, he does. Yorkie now, well, he was looking for something around Bergen. Contact nearly being made a couple of times in that in the proceedings there. That got very close. When I think Yorkie really had to check up there, he was going to collide with Bergen. And now, either something's happened with Yorkie. He has not gotten away well out of Latifi corner. Ali down to the inside through turn 16. That's a bold place. You don't see it happen there very often. Will King, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings there. We'll check back in with that in a minute. Marsbar is within 0.2 of a second of Rise here. Remember, realistically, the Williams team is in play for the Constructors' Championship. They do need a lot. And speaking of that, Ali looking down to the inside on Yorkie, contact being made side by side across the apex of the corner. And I tell you what, that one has hindered Yorkie as much as it's hindered Wee there, as we now to the right side. Marsbar getting around Rise there for the 4th spot. What we do see now, well, I tell you what, that does look a good battle between these two. Bergen and Spider side by side, so much going on here. And it looks like, oh, we do have a yellow flag somewhere. Oh, it's Yorkie. Yorkie's gone around in between turn 6 and 7, and that's very unfortunate for the Williams team. Rise within 0.2 of a second of Marsbar here as they make their way in towards turns 11 and 12. For the time being, it looks like... Oh, Bergen's gone around. Yes, he has. And thankfully, it doesn't appear that he's hit anything. Will not be getting a virtual or full safety car at the moment, but not ideal for the Red Bull team. Baniklash getting around the left side there of Wee as they make their way in through turn 16. Oh, we nearly lost the car there. Coming out of the final corner, he was able to hold on, but that one got close. .4 of a second here between Marsbar and Jag Cheb. Reimer is now at a almost a 5.5 second disadvantage to Zench here. Trying to break the toe. Marsbar in pursuit now, trying the inside. Cheb, unfortunately, is not going to have much defense here, although Cheb looked like he wanted the outside. And he nearly got it, in fairness. Still trying his best to stay in behind, and it looks as if Rise doing his best, and Rise doesn't need to try too hard. He's in a very good spot with the Aston Martin team. Around the outside now looks Marsbar on Reimer. Cheb hoping and looking for a mistake to be made from one of the two drivers ahead. Through turn 10, 11, and 12 they go. For the time being, Reimer still has the advantage. We are halfway through this Grand Prix. And not to mention, this is very crucial for Marsbar as well. If Reimer does not score tonight, and Marsbar is to win the Grand Prix, he will win the Drivers' Championship. For the time being, he needs a lot of luck. Will King is off at the back. This is exiting turn 10, which is a slightly odd place to have gone off there, has to be said. Either way. Marsbar getting around Reimer there. I think Reimer may have lost a couple of spots. Very much under pressure from Cheb here. Marsbar either made one hell of an attempt or Reimer kind of let him have the spot. It's a very odd situation there. Rise to the outside. He'll have the slipstream from both cars ahead of him. 4-car battle in towards turn 6 and 7. To the inside is Jag Cheb. Cheb makes contact with the left rear tire of Reimer, and then I think Rise got into Cheb as well. All stays fine for the time being, all the while. Oh, his Rafa's gone off. And that's a safety car. And Rafa's gone off well before the braking zone in towards turn 6. That is a very odd place to lose the car, and he has genuinely lost the car as well. He is missing front wing. And as we're halfway through this Grand Prix, getting in closer towards the final 10 laps, that is a huge wrench thrown in the plans of Zench, Marsbar, and the rest. Very unexpected DNF to be said. What do the drivers do? Zench comes in. He's on the mediums. Could he perhaps get on another set of mediums, or perhaps even the softs, and go to the end? And it will be another set of mediums. Marsbar on the way in as well. Reimer follows. As well as Cheb, Rise, Ali. Spider does stay out. He's on the hards, which is slightly odd. I would have expected him more or less to come in and get himself on a better compound, but it looks as if, for the time being, that he has stayed out on track. Baniklash has stayed out as well. And Spider's been disqualified for ignoring the yellow flag. Spider has overtaken the safety car. Unbeknownst to him, I don't think the game wanted him to do that. In what is a very odd turn of events now, Baniklash suddenly has the lead of the Grand Prix. Well, Spider's going to wish... He's going to wish he had that one back. Because whether the game told him to overtake the safety car or not, I'm not entirely sure. What I do know is this. He certainly acted as if it did. I don't know. What I do know is this. Baniklash has the lead of the Grand Prix. Zench second. Peak Hour third. Mars Bar fourth. Reimer fifth. Algeri, the second Mercedes, has not finished the Grand Prix. You will receive points all the way down to P15, so everybody currently on track will score. Look at the tire compounds currently selected. Everybody who's come in, aside from Jake Snow-Wolf, has taken the mediums. Jake Snow-Wolf on the softs. Ali, who pit before the safety car had come out, on the hards. And now Yorkie, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings under the safety car, no less. That is 6 seconds of penalty applied to Yorkie. Ramos still has a drive-through penalty to serve. Remember, he picked up 2. He had gone in to serve the first one, and I believe picked up a second one. So Baniklash having control of the grid here. I tell you what, there's a couple of really wrenches thrown into the plan here. We do have Peak Hour and Baniklash both on the hards. Older hards as well. Within the top 3. So that will definitely get in the way of any of the following drivers. Remember, the 2 Aston Martins led the Mercedes team by 2 points coming into today. Baniklash has the lead of the Grand Prix. The Aston Martins of Rise and Wee currently reside 7th and 10th. The Williams realistically in this battle as well. They were down 19 on the way into today. The max points you could pick up per team is 56. Don't forget, I will have all of the initial championship standings after the Grand Prix is finished. Of course, we still have a lot of racing left here. Anything can happen. Although Rise and Ali swapping positions here for what reason, I'm not sure. The safety car appears it will stay out an additional lap to pick up the McLaren of Ramos at the back of the grid. Which Ramos having an additional drive-through penalty doesn't quite make any sense to me. At this point, this will be allowing Ramos to take his drive-through and stall the field another lap. Unless Ramos decides to catch up and we just have this lap anyways. Lap 19 of 29 here. Next time by, we will have 10 laps to go in the season finale. Baniklash, despite being on the hards, it's still a respectable, I would think, pace from the Mercedes. You know, he'll be on the hards. He'll be at the obvious disadvantage here in the early goings, but he won't need to worry about stopping again, I don't think. Especially with the laps that we've spent under safety car here. Could be wrong. So Ramos chooses not to serve his drive-through penalty. Currently, driver of the day belongs to Peak Hour, up 12 positions since the off here. Unfortunately, in the negative direction, it does belong to Reimer at the moment with down 4. Of course, Will King down 13 after his DNF. We'll keep the penalty tabs open here, just in case we do get any additional drivers that decide to neglect track limits. So I'm not entirely sure why the game gives them 3-second penalties instead of the traditional 5-second penalties that we get in real life for exceeding track limits. I'm not entirely sure, but either way. as they make their way in towards Sector 3. The safety car will be in this lap. At the line this time, we will have 10 laps to go. Banniclash leading the grid here, despite being on the much older hard tires, to Zench's fresh mediums. Peak Hour on the hards as well, Marsbar on the mediums, Reimer on the mediums, the top 5. Apologies for that, I thought I turned my notification sound off, but I guess I didn't. Yorkie and Ramos still on penalties. Yorkie with 6 seconds, Ramos with a drive-through that he picked up for speeding under the safety car. Spider was disqualified for overtaking the safety car after having exited the pit lane, which was very unfortunate for him. He was having a great result prior to that. So Banniclash here through turn 15. 10 laps to go this time by. You can see Zench is ready to take this spot, and we are back to... Oh, that was a big slide there from Banniclash. Zench has caught onto it, but I think the big story here is Peak Hour is really not quite close to that of Zench. He has lost about 1.5 seconds off the start, and Ramos disqualified for ignoring the drive-through penalty. We knew at some point he would have to serve it. He did not serve it, and that has ended his race. Banniclash losing the position there. Zench on the outside. Does he hold it? Oh, for the time being, he just might. But Banniclash will need all the points he can get for Mercedes to win the championship. At the moment, it's a good voice crack. At the moment, I think they may be outscoring the Aston Martins, but it would definitely be close. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to look at that later. Ali had a look down to the inside of Rise. Remember, Rise cannot get involved in anything here. He needs a clean finish to this race. We need to improve some positions here if he wants any part of the spoils for the Aston Martin Championship. That could happen. Remember, they led by 2 points entering today. Peak Hour losing spots here. Look at the move Rise just made through the middle. Risky business there, and somehow Rise came out of that one okay, as Peak Hour now not only picks up a 3-second penalty, but has just lost about 3 spots there in the span of 2 corners. What a move it was from Rise. He really shot the line and went for broke. How he was able to fit through the middle between the Ferrari and Jag Chev, that was incredible, and that could have gone sideways very quickly. Fear Luke to the inside of Peak Hour. And it looks as if Fear Luke will get that 8th spot. Peak Hour has not had himself a good off from the safety car here. Losing positions left and right. Wee Guy within 1/10.5 of the AlphaTauri of Jake Snowwolf here. He'll be improving the spot with Peak Hour's penalty yet to come. 13 drivers remaining on track. Within 10 laps to go now. Zench has already set Banniclash behind by over 2 seconds as they make their way out of turn 5 and down towards the chicane of 6 and 7. Side by side here is Peak Hour and Jake Snowwolf. Wee needs to get around both of them here. He cannot afford to be caught up in any calamity. Here he goes, looking for the inside. A double overtake from Wee. Does he have it? He just may. He's still side by side. And I think the AlphaTauri will, for the time being, get away. Yes, he does. Good effort there from Wee, but he wasn't able to get it done. He did, however, get Bergen, and now is the time to get around Jake Snowwolf, and around the outside he goes. And for the time being, I think he'll have that one. More importantly, Marsbar tried to find the left side around Banniclash, but Banniclash was not going to have any of it. He's able to hold the spot for now. Reimer in position here. Any sort of calamity with this could result in a big problem from Reimer. Remember, Reimer just needs to score today, and he will be the champion. Zench is the fastest lap from him. Now, Zench not allowing any of these other drivers to take that fastest lap point, especially that of Banniclash, that could result in a big implication for the Constructors' Championship. Remember, there is the extra point for fastest lap in play, which Zench currently has. Marsbar doing his best to stay within DRS range of Banniclash here. He'll have it as they make their way down towards turn 6. Crucial battles this. Marsbar down to the inside. Reimer down to the way inside. And Reimer, does he get it? I'll tell you what, it's going to be very close. DRS activated once more. And Reimer somehow will get both Banniclash and Marsbar. He absolutely sent it down to the inside of Marsbar, who had already gone to the inside of Banniclash. So Reimer leapfrogs both of them. Oh, and I think Bandiclash getting overtaken from Cheb here. Yes, he is. So Bandiclash, who not long ago was atop the grid, was looking in a good position to help overtake the Aston Martin team in the constructor standings. Now there goes Rise down to the inside through Latifi corner. Ali nearly lost the car through said Latifi corner. He was able to hold on. Bandiclash 0.3 of a second away. And unfortunately, with this overtake here from Ali as he goes down to the inside, that may spell the end of the championship hopes for Mercedes. Bandiclash did everything he could so far today to try and find some sort of salvageable points after Algieri's retirement earlier on in the race. Remember, Algieri retired around the third lap of the Grand Prix, and he retired in the pits as well. And now, Ali down to the inside. Around the outside goes Fear Luke. And now Fear Luke with perhaps a double overtake of his own. Yes, I believe he will. Nicely done from Fear Luke, but that relegates Bandiclash down to P8. Oh, and Bandiclash got a little wiggly there coming off of the chicane. And he's losing ground even more. Rise within 0.4 of a second here, although Jake Snowwolf side by side with Wee here. Side by side. This could get risky here. And Jake Snowwolf battles and gets that spot. Really gutsy place of the track to try to make that happen, but he's done just that. Very nicely done from the AlphaTauri. Coming to the line here, 24th lap of the Grand Prix out of 29. Next time by will be 5 laps to go for Zench in the Alpine, who, well, there's no other way to say it. It's been a rather dominating day from him. He battled hard with Reimer earlier on, but Reimer's goal wasn't to win. It was pretty much just to finish, and for the time being, it looks like he may accomplish just that. We do have Wee trying to strike back at Jake Snowwolf down to the inside at turn 5. Not going to have the ability this time, I'm afraid. But with the aid of DRS, he may have an opportunity. Yes, there is DRS activated. Within the slipstream of Jake Snowwolf down to the inside, and we will take the spot. Rise now within 0.3 of a second of Jag Cheb. As they make their way down towards turn 9, Cheb is out of his energy store. To the right side goes Rise. And I think he's going to get that one. Yes, he will. Meanwhile, Fear Luke is in this battle as well. Don't you forget about that Red Bull. Mars Bar within half a second of Reimer here. Trying his best to at least get the win on track today. Mars Bar came in down by a lot. He needed a lot of luck. It will be a good result for Mars Bar, but I'm afraid it won't be the championship if it stays like this. Something drastic will need to happen with Reimer. Oh, and around goes Fear Luke! And he's hit the inside wall in the virtual safety car. Thankfully, only that, a virtual safety car out on track. And Fear Luke, we talked about that in the qualifying session. That final corner, very easy to get oversteer, wheel spin coming off the curves on the outside. And I'm afraid that's exactly what's happened there with the Red Bull of Fear Luke. The virtual safety car out on track here. We have 5 laps to go. Remember, none of the results that will happen here. No results are final until steward reports are put out later in the week. Bandiclash overtaking Fear... Well, yeah, that's probably fair. It'll probably ask for Bandiclash to give the spot back. Although with Fear Luke's front wing gone, it would make sense to me why Fear Luke's been overtaken here, although the game probably will ask for Bandiclash to give the spot back. For the time being, it doesn't appear to be the case. Virtual safety car is a relatively long virtual safety car as well, has to be said. Green flag hopefully expected here any minute. With 4 laps to go this time by for Zench and Reimer, the top 2. Such a shame for Fear Luke. He was having a great race prior to that. DRS re-enabled here. 4 laps to go. Cheb within 5.5 tenths of Rise. Ali trying to find his way in this battle as well. Although, well, that looks weird. Anyways. 4.5 tenths here. Jag Cheb trying his best, trying to close in on Rise. Jag Cheb not really doing anything here except fighting for glory, although I think he may still be in position to realistically take maybe second or third in the championship. We'll have to wait and see. I was kind of only focused on the championship battles at hand. So Reimer's got about 3 laps between himself and the championship here. Cheb within 0.3 of a second here with DRS trying to find a way around Rise. He'll pick the inside, doesn't quite commit to it. He wasn't necessarily close enough to make that happen. Although Rise going wide out of the corner, and then I think having a bit of a wiggle there that will allow Cheb to get around the left side. And yes, Cheb will get around Rise. Mars Bar, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Very unfortunate for him. We have 3 laps to go. Rise within position here on Jag Cheb. Rise doesn't need to play this one too aggressively. He just has to finish. For the time being, Aston Martin would take the win in the Drivers' Championship. All Rise has to do is pretty much finish here. If he doesn't, that would allow Baniklash to outscore Wee for the time being. Mars Bar and the Williams team, if they were able to accumulate 19 points, that could put them ahead, but for the time being, it doesn't appear that'll be the case, as Rise will get around Jag Cheb, and there goes Ali down to the inside as well. With Jake Snowwolf getting down to the inside of Bergen. Oh, Bergen into the back of the AlphaTauri there. As we now... Oh, we almost got away from him. We was able to save the car. He had a lot of oversteer getting back onto the throttle going through turn 7. Perhaps did he get caught up in the contact there from the Red Bull into the back end of the AlphaTauri. It could have been the case. Ali within 0.2 of a second here on Rise. To the line this time, we will have 2 laps to go. And what has been a thrilling season. And a great Grand Prix to boot as well. 2 laps to go. Reimer is, well, as we said, he is closing in on Zench here. Not necessarily close enough to threaten Zench's win. Although if he picks up a 3-second penalty, that will be massively terrible for Zench. Bergen around the right side of Jake Snowwolf here through the first corner. There goes Wee trying to find something happen. Trying to find, oh, contact being made there. Holy mackerel, how did Wee hold on to the car? That one was almost terrible. Pierre Luke now the fastest lap. Bergen gone way out wide through the turn 5 chicane. Ali wanted to go down the inside of Rise there. I think kind of had second thoughts, and unfortunately that opportunity is past him. Wee getting down the inside of Bergen, as Jake Snowwolf in pursuit as well, as I think Jake Snowwolf will get around Bergen. Yes, he does. Rise losing the spot there to Ali. Trying to find it around the left side. Again, Rise does not need to be too aggressive here. And now, the 16th corner for the penultimate time. Final lap of the Grand Prix underway as Baniklash, a 3-second time penalty. Although I don't believe he'll be losing any further positions, that will pretty much wrap up that championship for Aston Martin. To the final corner now, Rise about 4.5 tenths behind Ali. And now this is interesting. The Aston Martin of Wees just picked up a 3-second penalty. That'll make him lose at least 3 spots there. Zench making his way down towards turn 6 for the final time. Reimer in pursuit as well. Although Reimer behind 3.5 tenths, his hard work is done. He can just cruise this final way around. Here's Rise. He will look to the inside of Ali for the 4th spot. Does he get it? Yes, he does. And Jag Cheb wants to send it as well. And Cheb, that was a rather late decision there from him, and I think he may still get the position on the Alfa Romeo. Uh-oh! No, he hasn't! 2 cars go off! Ali and Cheb, something happened with the 2 of them. Well, we were looking at them fine, and then suddenly they were behind the stands, and now they're done. Well, Zench making his way through the final couple of corners. He will win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Oh, goodness me, but the real story, it's Reimer. A dominating first half of the season. He is the champion of JAG S. A dominating first half of the season, a slow second half, but he was able to maintain the standings where he could. And I believe this result as well will clinch Aston Martin, the Constructors' Champion. Of course, no results are final until steward reports come out. But either way, Banniclash did all he could. Fortunately, he wasn't much aided by his teammate who DNF'd on the 3rd lap. The Aston Martins were ahead by 2 coming into today. They finish ahead, but it is Reimer taking the championship, and it is Zench taking the win. Jake Snowwolf, driver of the day. Well, after it's all said and done on this season of JAG Sunday Series, it's Zench taking the win, Reimer 2nd, and the Drivers' Championship, Rise and the Aston Martin team 3rd, and the Constructors' Championship, Marsbar 4th. Great effort from him. Banniclash 5th, did all he could, was on the back end of the strategy there after the safety car. Bergen 6th. Jake Snowwolf 7th, driver of the day as well. Yorkie 8th, 9th is Wee, 10th is Fear Luke, 11th is Peak Hour. Ali and Cheb had the incident in the final lap there, and everybody else, unfortunately, did not finish the Grand Prix. What a season it has been. Very, very happy that I was able to join you all along for the ride. What a season it's been. Again, Reimer taking the Drivers' Championship, and Aston Martin clinching the Constructors' Championship as well. Of course, none of these results are final until steward reports come out, but I tell you what a pleasure it was joining you once again. And hopefully, we'll see you next season.